Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another stream. Sorry, I'm like running all around. I got a new puppy, a 4-month-old English bulldog, and she's like watching a baby. So I'm like doing a lot of running back and forth, um, trying to get her trained and making sure everything's good. So let's look at. Let's see. We need. I know. I'm pretty sure there's news today. Yeah. So 9:45, 10 o'clock. We got PMI and yeah, more PMI. Cool. We can see S&P. S&P has finally swiped that low that we were looking at last week. Um, got some nice rejection off of it. We do have some break of structure. There is a good chance, however, we can fill this top half of this gap. Kind of sell back down, but have to wait and see. Something I do like on the 15th, kind of this double top we have here. See she's already going crazy. Yeah, sorry guys. So see, these were London highs that were taken out. They broke down. I be curious to see if they can come back up here, but they don't necessarily have to. Nasdaq, same thing. Looks a little more mirror-like of S&P, where we took out these daily lows. Now we seem like we're potentially going side. I have this H1 gap marked as like we can still fill it. Reason being, right? This was the fair value gap I had marked on the H4. We come up slightly and try to come up again. So I'm gonna keep this level here as reference for what we want to see as a potential top side. Shorts do look nice though. I will say that. Yeah, I kind of figured the streams would be a little harder to maintain with a puppy. But I figured I'd get on anyway. You know, it's been a couple days, so don't want to keep this. Now everything does look pretty sideways. One second. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that, fellas. Had to take the dog out. Alright, so here we got the high of the day. Let's just mark out what we have, what we know we have. Kind of go from there. We got our high of the day. And here's our low. Alright. Good chance we come attack this low of the day. Like I said, we did take out London, right? These are London highs. Took them out, failed to make a new high. Now we go lower. Kind of played this gap fill as I thought they would, but that's not something we want to take before bond open. One before bond open and before news. This was nice. These are some beautiful plays. Granted, they did happen before bond open, but see if we can get to the low of the day. All of them. I think what ends up happening here is we sweep these lows, come in and fill one of these fair value gaps, go higher. That's the prediction. Because these lows are kind of clean. Right, we got this fair value gap here. A good chance we dip into that. Appreciate those of you guys who are, staying on and bearing with me here. I'm, like I said, dealing with a new dog, so been doing a lot of running around, making sure she's not getting herself into any trouble. 2 minutes until bond open. So this is the low of the day on U30. Now U30 is unlike any other, where there's no gaps to kind of reject off of if we come lower. It's kind of just like either attack last week's low, which looks very possible. We have yesterday's low as well from Monday open. Here we got bond open. Kind of see how all three are doing. I don't want to see if they're going to come up and fill most of this range. Now here's the lows of the day on SPX, U30, and NASDAQ. So they're pretty close. Top above the high. Ah, we missed it. I like SPX. Ah! No! NASDAQ was a little tricky just how it stopped at the gap. That would have been a nice one. Oh man, there were options. SPX was definitely it though, like this stopping at the gap here. Yeah. At this point it's already, unless they come back up, that risk to reward isn't all that great. Put it above this. Alright, we took a U30 short. TP at the low of the day. So NASDAQ filled, cleared the low of the day, made a new low. SPX on its way. See if U30 can kind of follow suit. What we'll do here is we'll take a partial at the low of the day. But my thing is, if we can clear the low of the day, we're most likely going for these lows and then probably the low of the week. But I might honestly just take full profit at the low of the day. It's 1 to 4. They're gonna do this funny business now, huh? Price action looking pretty ugly. We're gonna pay the trader here with a partial at 1 to 2. That cuts our risk down in half. So we secured our initial investment. Remember, we're gonna take another partial at my TP is at the low of the day, but like I said, if we're gonna clear the low of the day, we're most likely going for these lows. Well, that gets us like a 1 to 7, 1 to 8. Yesterday's low 1 to 10. But I think by the time at this point we're going for a new low. We're gonna clear out the low of the week. But since it's Tuesday, we do have that news dropping pretty soon. Set our TP here, like 1 to 8, right below those lows. We've already taken a partial at 1 to 2. Cut our stop in half. All right, that low of the day, we're taking another partial. Cut 1 to 4. Partial. All right, so we're completely risk-free at this point. We've made profit. And now we see if we can get to 1 to 8, 1 to 10. You guys probably hear my dog yiping. Good recovery considering we lost Nasdaq. We were originally looking at Nasdaq. I wanted to kind of stop in this gap and we'll look at SPX in a second, but yeah, this kind of breach above setting these equal highs. I didn't like that. Now SPX gave exactly what we were looking for. With Nasdaq, stopped at the gap on a dime, but it ran a little too fast before we can get in. So ended up getting US 30, which happened later than SPX and Nasdaq, but we still got it. So can't complain about that. That's why it's good to kind of have all three indices up, because more likely than not they're going to do the same thing. One's going to lag, and you can capitalize on that. So we've taken out the low of the day. We got yesterday's low sitting at 1 to 10. But we're going to take our complete position out here if we can get to these lows. I think we should. What do you think, chat? Yesterday's low? Yeah, we'll do yesterday's low. Fuck it, we'll get a 1 to 10. We'll take another partial at 1 to 8. Since that's what we were intending to get out, we'll take a partial. Pay the trader. So 1 to 8, we'll take another partial. So here's SPX at that gap that we marked before bond open. That could potentially sweep the low of the day, fill this gap, and go back up to the upside. So we'll be kind of waiting for that breakdown. We need some structure formation here, obviously for the structure break, and then a retest to a gap, right? So we have the 15-minute gap. We'd pretty much be waiting for structure and a retest to a gap on the minute, and that will give us confirmation reversal. Really want that push to 1 to 8. I think they'll play around here a little bit and then aggressively down. But we'll cross this 1 to 8. All right, another partial taken, 1 to 8. See how that looks? So that has taken out these lows. Now we got yesterday's low here at 1 to 10. move our TP, break even. Right, so if you have like a spot where you set your TP and then you think, okay, I can potentially hit these other points, right? You want to capitalize on some more potential gains. Take a partial if you can, right? And then move your TP where you think it's going to go, which is what we did, right? Instead of getting out at 1 to 4 completely, which would have still been great, we took a partial, paid the trader, and we kind of let the rest work its way down, right? So we essentially doubled what we would have made at 1 to 4. So that PMI news has dropped. I think we'll definitely go for yesterday's low at this point. SPX violated this gap, but we'll keep it there. NASDAQ, very choppy. Kind of glad I stayed out of that. Come on. Push. Oh, they're playing games here. Come on. Yo, close the trade. Chat, look how close it is. It's all right. We're out of it ourselves. Like, oh, right now you want to go through. All right, so we got a 1 to 10 on that. Nice trade, beautiful. Got that retest to the gap, and then deep melt. Nasdaq was an okay opportunity. If you were really waiting for a gap fill, this was like the only chance. Obviously, with a stop above here. So let's see if that even would have made sense. Right, you would have been sitting at a 1 to 1. You would have been sitting at a 1 to 1. Good thing we didn't chase this, right? Because price got up here and kind of ran. Same with SPX, right? We didn't chase. Price hit what we wanted to see, hit our gap, but kind of ran, right? So we didn't want to chase that on the downside because we've been seeing some drawdown. SPX would have been a nice payout as well. but then US 30 was kind of lagging behind, staying at the gap. So really good 30. So we're officially at yesterday's low. We'll have to see what they want to do. I think they can go for last week's low at this point. Like I said, clearing these, going for yesterday's low, and then kind of going for the week. We'll probably definitely get there, and probably definitely could have capitalized more on the move. But a 1 to 10 on a Tuesday, that's can't ask for anything better. Chat, talk to me, man. What are you guys looking at right now? What's on your charts? Did you take US 30? Did you take any indices? Um, Let me know, man. BTC sideways. It's been sideways pretty much the whole week. I like these buy stops here. Caught that. Caught that BCUX off you, fam. I missed a damn move by the time I got to the 1 minute, it was gone. Which pair, Tyler? Oh, caught that move because of you. Oh, appreciate. Hey, man, good shit. Yeah, so it would have been a 1 to 12. But it's fine. We're not complaining. We're good. We can kind of let this thing run. Right. So BTC, I like these. I like these buy stops here, as you know, they're consolidating. I think we can get a push up and fill more of this gap, which is something that's been throwing me off with BTC, right? I like the way it moves, but when it comes to these gaps, they don't quite fill them all. If there's one thing, you know, I can try to exploit, it's 50% of fair value gaps. So like if I have this entire range, I take 50%, and that would be like a target, right? That's how I started off trading fair value gap. BTC doesn't necessarily do that, right? It doesn't quite go in and fill the whole thing like we would look for on an indice. It doesn't even come close to filling 50%. So it gets kind of rough in terms of, okay, we have these fair value gaps, but how can I gauge them for like a short, or how do I know if they're ready to kind of turn around? Obviously, we can look for things like structure and stuff, and things of that nature. But you know, when you have this much upside potential of it coming up and filling in, right? It gets kind of risky judging your basis off like breaks of structure down, because there's a chance it could be a fake out and continue long. It hasn't necessarily done that, right? You can see every time it comes to a gap, they don't necessarily come back to fill the entire range. So that may be something we kind of consider, how we can gauge off these fair value gaps. But yeah, BTC looks very choppy. Look at EU. Now we have this fair value gap up here, and they did not get to it. Kind of stayed here and broke down. Let's see how this looks. Your thoughts on EU, broski? We looking at it. come off that fair value gap, come down. Here's this fair value gap here, and we got yesterday's low. So there's yesterday's low. Yeah, EU with how close it is, considering we broke down, filled this gap. Obviously, if you were in on this gap, that'd be nice. But at this point, going short here with yesterday's low, I don't think you're really making too much. Right? Just say you were to get in at current price with stop above the high. Why is my chart locked? What's going on? See that payout's not very good. I would wait to see if they can kind of get back up into this range, maybe in this gap one more time. Then that would make a little more sense, right? Because if we can come back up here into this gap, and if we look left, right, this is the high, this is the low of this gap. Reference, here we go. Looking at this gap. So I'd want price to come back into it. That way I can have a nice comfortable stop above structure. And then I'd be targeting that. And that kind of evens out the playing field in terms of risk to reward. Right? That's more of like a 1-to-1, which really isn't too much, but it's still something. You're still getting a return. But at this point, being this low, and where your stop could be, it's just not worth it. But I would definitely see if we can get there, which I think we can without question. And as far as next targets, I'll be damned. EU is kind of falling off the map. Well, in this case, as far as next targets, this low here. Probably asking why that low? Well, because it's a low. Why not these? Well, I could, but if we're looking at how structure is, this is that low. This is that higher low, right? These are also higher lows, but this is the predominant. That makes sense. If we kind of look at structure, goes up, down, right? So that would be our reference. Which is very, 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 very far down. But as far as actually, may not be. We're definitely not getting here today, right? It's a pretty far range. But I'd definitely be looking at how they're gonna play it off of yesterday's low, right? If they kind of sit here and then show, okay, we're breaking to the upside, cool. But if they break below that, yeah, we got a nice healthy range down to this low on the month. GU. GU breaks the highs. Kind of does like a 3 push. Breaks down. in time, I probably would have been looking for this gap fill, which they don't get. Down, got a gap fill here. Still could have taken this, stop above the high. Would have sat in some drawdown, but that would have been a nice play. Targeting this low. Then they come down. This is more of our New York session here. Don't really give much. So EU has officially broken that low. I think more news has dropped. So here's that daily low. Check out the low of the day. Here's that low we're looking at last week. Over here. And we have revisited that. Right? So here's that ultimate low we want to look at. As far as where they might be wanting. This is what I said would have been our target. Had they cleared, those lows from yesterday. So I'll definitely get there. Why structure is important? Because probably people here thinking, oh, we just hit liquidity and we're buying, let me buy. Now this is the red. This was nice on NASDAQ. Right, could have had something along these lines. This is very beautiful. I like this. Man. U30 would have been a murder scene. Still was, but be looking at this for, well, we'll revisit this tomorrow. We'll look at it tomorrow to see how we do. If we get there today, how we react off there today. If not, it'll be something to look at tomorrow if they don't get to it. But I think they will. Right? Because we got this low here. We'll want to attack that dip. But alright guys, that's gonna be it for the stream today. At this point, I'm going to get off and I will see everybody tomorrow live on stream. Appreciate everybody for getting on. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.